Welcome back to Melody Ever After. Today we're going to be talking about some riveting stuff here on the channel, and that thing is New Age hippies. They've been roasted, blasted, memed, and plastered all over the internet for things like cultural appropriation, being just generally cringe, and even believing that they're descendants of aliens? Okay, honestly, the more I look into it, the weirder things get, but that's how things are gonna go here on the channel today, so if you're interested in that, keep watching. I want to preface today's video by saying believe whatever you want to believe. I'm not here to judge anybody, you can believe whatever you want, but this is just my observations and opinions as an outsider on the matter, and someone who has seen a lot of strange content on TikTok lately. I feel like this video right here is the beginning of the New Age hippie trend, micro trend on TikTok, so let's take a look, shall we?
Shine it all. These rollerblades catching on fire.
This video of these two lovely folks was posted last December in 2023 of them just vibing in their big mid-century modern mansion, which is part of the reason why people started calling them out on this poser hippie behavior. The internet started putting them on blast for being posers and not living the true hippie lifestyle, which that's right, you know, being a hippie isn't a state of mind, guys. If you're not rolling around naked in the dirt with braids in your hair and fringe jackets and cool circular sunglasses, you're not a hippie. Sorry, I know you might think you might be, but you're not, okay? If you live in a house, it's out of the cards for you. Apparently the internet found out that they don't even live in the United States and English is not their first language because I guess they were doxxed or something because the internet is just one giant cesspit of brimstone and flatulence. People started calling them out because they live in this giant house and they're saying that's not true to the hippie lifestyle. Overall, I'm not here to judge them. They look like they're having a great time. They also look like they smell like patchouli and neck sweat, but that's not my place, you know? Don't look at me in the eyes and say that you've never had a reggae phase, okay? I mean, we all went to Florida when we were 12 and heard some reggae music playing in a Mexican restaurant and decided that we were gonna make it in our entire personality for like 6 months and downloaded like 8 albums on iTunes of some random reggae band that no one's ever heard before. Was that a unique experience, or did that happen to more than one person? It's not just. Here's a little history lesson. I feel like the hippies of the 60s and 70s that we think of romping around in the dirt, humping each other at Woodstock, were probably just the kids of people with trust funds anyway. They just wanted an excuse to get away from their 1950s stuck-up parents so they could smoke weed and listen to rock music. Now, ironically, they're all in their 70s and they think that Taylor Swift is a witch and Doja Cat sold her soul to the devil. Honestly, they need to practice what they preach. They need to bring back the free roaming and the rolling around in the dirt because they need a chill pill. Nevertheless, if it was because they were culturally appropriating hairstyles or pretending to be hippies or faking a slouch or whatever it may be, these two became a meme on the internet and people started saying things like, me when I put granola on my yogurt one time, me when I skip a singular shower. Honestly, that's fair. They probably asked for it, and honestly, I don't think these things are offensive. Overall, this gets a 7 out of 10 on the appropriate scale, I guess, of hippies on the internet. I don't know. This is like the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot crazier stuff buried underneath here that I feel like we're gonna get into today. I think these two are really the ones who set off this micro trend of new hippies that we're seeing, which brings us to our next creator on TikTok, Miss Shannon Blake. Everyone knows her. Everyone loves her. Shannon Blake is a content creator, songwriter, and singer who makes some pretty interesting music.
I told him praise my pussy often. He told me that won't be a problem. He opened up my legs and saw bliss and told me I'm a fucking goddess.
Okay. She is very eccentric and she gets a lot of slack for her crazy style, but honestly, girl, the body is tea. If I had that figure, I'd be doing some weird stuff too. I'd be drawing attention to myself. We good for her. We can't talk about that, okay? We're not talking about her style today. Shannon has been under internet criticism for writing some pretty questionable lyrics in her songs about rolling around naked in the dirt, taking psychedelics, and healing her kidney infection with her third eye.
Sound transforms DNA, my mind's making things move. Kidney infection, I heal that too.
I dabble in a little tiny smidge of metaphysical knowledge. There's like different layers to this. We have your granola moms and your essential oil moms and your hiking people and your crystal girls who you would share general hippie hobbies with down here. Then we have the dancing hippies up here who really commit to the bit. And then up here we have the delusional hippies, which I'm going to get into right now. I don't mean any offense to this, it just sounds absolutely bazonkers to me. And so I dabble in a smidge of metaphysical knowledge, one may say. But someone with a more advancedly open third eye, let me know, does this sound crazy to you? Because I feel like even if you are like the top dog shaman, if you let a kidney infection go untreated without medication, you're gonna go septic. Like, this girl's gonna be more pickled than that kombucha she's chugging. This was all an excerpt from her song, Peru Song, and actually good for her. She got to go to Peru, live out her dreams, hang out with the native people of Peru, probably paid thousands of dollars to do it, interestingly enough. And she planted some potatoes. Apparently potatoes are very important in Peru. I remember one time I was in like first grade and our school bussed us out to the fairgrounds for a multicultural appreciation day, but the only speaker was this random old guy from Peru, and he had this really long, like 2-inch long thumbnail, and told us that everybody in Peru had a really long thumbnail, and the old people in the village, like the elders, used it to peel potatoes. And I googled that. I remember that, like, I'm not making this up. This is something I genuinely heard as a child. Like, it kind of stuck with me because I was like, and he forced like all the first graders to come examine this long thumbnail. It was very strange. Yeah, I googled that. I actually couldn't find anything about it, so he may have been jorking our chains on that one. I don't know. Shannon has been under scrutiny not just because of her questionable lyrics, eccentric style, and her seeming belief that she can cure UTIs with her mind, but also because she is a poser as well. People have somehow found out that her parents work at a company called Lockheed Martin. If you don't know what Lockheed Martin is, just look it up. The dad in the JonBenet Ramsey case and the dad in the Turpin family case both work there. It's like the most shady place to work in the entire metaverse. It's a weird company. She also has been accused of appropriating Hawaiian culture, island culture, African culture, Native American culture, pretty much every culture you can appropriate, she has been accused of appropriating it, which, and I can't do this, I can't defend her. This has rightfully so made a lot of people unhappy, so that's absolutely fabulous. But quite possibly the weirdest thing about this creator, Shannon Blake, is that in many of her songs she has lyrics that say that she is something called a plebeian, I don't know how to say it. Basically a starseed, you know, if you remember that from 2020. Starseeds and plebeians are ancestors of aliens that come from a biblical cluster of stars in outer space, and they believe that they are a descendant of a superior alien race. There's different races, and the one that she thinks she is this one right here, which is called a Lyran. Apparently they are lion people, and they are identified by having blonde hair and blue eyes.
Shout out to the fans, they're the ones who made me. So from the Pleiades, Lyran is the race. See, I came to this earth to bring love, light, and healing.
So, interesting. People who believe that they are Lyran people, don't really know how to say it, believe that they are descendants from the Nordic alien race, which was kind of like something that developed amongst strange religious cultists in the 1950s. And it is deeply, deeply rooted in white supremacy because this Lyran race of alien people are the most superior. They also are coincidentally the ones who are the palest and the ones with blonde hair and blue eyes. So you can see where this kind of belief system would be rooted in some problematic ideology, aka neo-Nazism. Don't know if I can say that on YouTube, but it's true. A lot of neo-Nazis identify with the Lyran race, and that's why a lot of people are like, girl, which she hasn't said anything about being racist that I can find on her TikTok, but she definitely identifies with this Lyran race, so that within itself seems to be a problem. I don't even know how one goes about discovering that they're an alien, because I feel like she was probably, I mean, she has a mom. She doesn't think she was dropped off on Earth. Maybe it's like a reincarnation thing. Hang on. How to know if you are a Lyran. First question on here, guys, is do you feel connected to J.R.R. Tolkien's elven race? I mean, this guy does look like Legolas. That's I'll give him that one. You heard it here first. If you want to get jiggy with Legolas, you think that they're sexy, you feel connected to those people, those J.R.R. Tolkien elves, and you have blonde hair, you could be an alien too. What are we even talking about right now? I don't even. As I was doing research on these plebeians and the Lyran lore, one of the main people on the internet who went viral recently, who identifies as one of these creatures, was the January 6th shaman who stormed the Capitol dressed like a buffalo. Yeah, apparently. His name is Jake and Jelly, and he was arrested for storming the Capitol on January 6th, but he also goes by the name Yellowstone Wolf, if you're into that sort of thing. It's bringing me back to my warrior cat days. I'm literally Medcat. I'm literally Medcat, okay? I don't fight, I'm a Medcat. He's also a self-initiated shaman and is an avid user and believer of psychedelics to enhance mental health. He seems to have a Facebook page here where he self-describes himself as Jake and Jelly, a self-initiated shaman, energetic healer, ordained minister, public speaker, and published author. He is the native to the Valley of the Sun and has worked in the behavioral health field for over 6 years and has walked the shamanic path for over a decade. During his shamanic path, shouldn't it be during his time on his shamanic path? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm pronouncing that wrong. He underwent 90 hours worth of tattooing. What does that mean? What does that have to, I know lots of people who have to, what? 90 hours of tattooing, wrote several books, influenced hundreds of lives, and spent endless hours in a deep trance and state of meditation. He is a metaphysical warrior and is a compassionate healer and a servant of the divine creator God. Okay, woo, that is a lot to unpack. This whole New Age hippie thing is a lot more intense than I thought it was gonna be when I initially started writing this video. Guys, I genuinely do not know what to make of all of this, coming from a normie, coming from someone who I guess is just not on that level of vibration, if you know what I mean. I don't know what to make of all of this. It seems like he's gone so far right that he's gone left, or maybe vice versa. That's scary that they do violent stuff like storm the Capitol and, you know, believe in white supremacy. Actually, I've got an uncle who may be interested in this sort of thing, and not in a good way. Anyway, so there we have the basis of the New Age hippie movement that is going crazy all over TikTok, and my observations and opinions about it. I hope I didn't say anything too offensive. I'm really sorry. Again, I do think that religion and spirituality is a fluid state. I think it's a spectrum, so I don't judge anyone for believing these things, but if you're doing self-destructive or destructive behaviors in general, like, you know, being racist or defiling our nation's capital, that's when it starts to be a problem. So anyway, the moral of the story is that the Woodstock hippies that we think of when we think of our stereotypical hippie culture were actually just trust fund babies of people in the 1950s who wanted to smoke weed and have fun anyway. So there's no such thing as a hippie poser. Being a hippie is a state of mind. Everyone's free to do what they want, but yeah, don't be racist. And to you on the internet watching this looking for some kind of anger outlet, I will say this: please don't go harass these people. Do not track down Shannon Blake or Jake and Jelly, especially when it comes to these people who believe these like really crazy extremist ideologies. It's probably going to do you more good just to ignore them, because this kind of thing has been deeply rooted in their character for decades now, and you can't undo that. It's probably just best to leave them alone, kind of like a revved up booty pimple, if you feel me. It's just best not to poke at it. So what are your opinions about this New Age hippie moment? Are you mad that there's posers, or are you feeling like being a hippie is a state of mind? Did you know that you could be a starseed if you have blonde hair and blue eyes? I'd love to hear your opinions on this in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate if you check out my channel. I'm Melody Ever After. I do pop culture commentary and variety content, usually around pop culture, spooky stuff, geeky stuff. So if that interests you, I'd really appreciate it if you give my channel a check out, or maybe even head to my website at melodyeverafter.com. In the meantime, you've been watching Melody Ever After. Until next time, guys.